Okay, so I came across something very interesting on Twitter. So I saw Marjorie Taylor Greene was trending, and curious to see why. And it's people calling for her to be censored. Now, I'm no fan of Marjorie Taylor Greene. In fact, I'd say I'm quite the opposite. I think she's a buffoon. I think she is very unintelligent. She doesn't know a whole lot. It's quite amazing to me that she somehow managed to make her way into the body of Congress, but I can say that about just about anybody else there. Um, but they're calling for her to be censored, and I want to play for you a video really quickly. If you blink, you'll miss it, so pay attention.
Joe Biden, you're not a president. You're a piece of shit.
Okay, so what you just saw right there was her calling the President of the United States of America, Joe Biden, a piece of shit. Now, people are calling for her to be censored over this. And if you aren't aware, she was also suspended from Twitter. I don't think she was banned like permanently, but she was suspended for like 7 days. And this isn't the first time this has happened to her. This happened to her numerous times, and I think you need to be suspended like maybe one or two more times than she's already been suspended to be permanently banned from Twitter. As we know, they've already banned Donald Trump from Twitter. I mean, Twitter has banned, numerous accounts of noteworthy people, individuals, and groups. I mean, it's this purge from social media companies that they're just getting rid of people that they deem are worthy of getting rid of, and they did it to a former president. So they can pretty much do it to literally anybody else. Marjorie Taylor Greene is no exception. And so people are lobbying for her to be censored, and I'm here to basically say that I'm against it, and as well as give you some information about how the American people are viewing censorship right now. And I have to say, it is not good. So this is from the Pew Research. More Americans now say government should take steps to restrict false information online than in 2018. So basically, from now all the way back to 2018, Americans today are more prone to say yes to censorship than they were 3 years ago, and that's incredibly scary. And it's indicative of what we've been seeing. Not only have the politicians, but the corporate media outlets, they've all been in line with the same ideology. Like, yes, censorship is good. You should want to get rid of the people that disagree with you and not allow them to have a platform to say whatever it is that they want to say, even if it is false, even if it is misleading. Because once you censor, I mean, you give free reign to pretty much censor anything and censor things that may be just. But on the merits of censorship, I just disagree with it. Now, let's get into what this research shows. So, amid rising concerns over misinformation online, including surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic, especially vaccines, Americans are now a bit more open to the idea of the U.S. government taking steps to restrict false information online. And a majority of the public continues to favor technology companies taking such action, according to a new Pew Research Center survey. Roughly half of U.S. adults, 48%, now say the government should take steps to restrict false information. 48%, even if it means losing some freedom to access and publish content, according to the survey of 11,178 adults conducted July 26th through August the 8th of 2021. That is up. Get this, that is up from 39% in 2018. At the same time, the share of adults who say freedom of information should be protected, even if it means some misinformation is published online, has decreased from 58% to 50%. When it comes to whether technology companies should take steps to address misinformation online, more people are in agreement. So more people want the more people on the side of technology companies censoring than they are the government censoring. And my question is, what the fuck is the difference? So it says that when it comes to technology companies, a majority of adults, 59%, continue to say technology companies should take steps to restrict misinformation online, even if it puts some restrictions on Americans' ability to access and publish content. Around 4 in 10, 39%, take the opposite view, that protecting freedom of information should take precedence, even if it means false claims can spread. The balance of opinion on this question has changed a little since 2018. That's an insane difference. 59% of the country is in favor of tech companies and censorship. Only 39% oppose. Wow. Wow. And this is a little bit further. So the partisan division, so Republicans and Democrat, on the role of government in addressing online misinformation have emerged since 2018. 3 years ago, around 6 in 10 in each partisan coalition. So 60 Senate Republicans and GOP-leaning independents and 57% of Democrats and Democratic leaners agreed that freedom of information should be prioritized over the government taking steps to restrict false information online. So they were kind of in lockstep, the Republicans and Democratic voters. So 60% of Republicans, 57% of Democrats. Get this. Today, 70% of Republicans say those freedoms should be protected. So 70% of Republicans are against censorship, right? Even if it means some false information is published. 65% of Democrats say the opposite. They say the government should take steps to restrict false information, even if it means limiting freedom. Wow. And it gets even worse. That's just on the government. So as far as technology companies go, 3/4 of Democrats, 76% say that tech companies should have the right to restrict false information online at the expense of limiting information freedoms. And a majority of Republicans express the opposite view. So 61% of Republicans say that those freedoms should be protected and tech companies shouldn't censor even if false information gets published. That is absolutely insane. And to wrap up the research, I thought this was really interesting. More women than men are open to the idea of censorship. So first of all, mainstream media and the politicians have successfully, and this is successful, I mean the evidence shows it, they have successfully persuaded the American people to be pro-censorship. Because back in 2018, several years ago, they were anti-censorship. A majority of the American people were. And the contrast between Republican and Democrat is something that's extremely noteworthy. Because what do you see from liberal Democrats, especially online, like on Twitter, on Facebook, on these social media sites? They are so in favor of these oligarch billionaires from Silicon Valley to be the deciding factor in whether or not a person has a voice online. You seriously trust people like Jack and Mark Zuckerberg to make decisions on whether or not a person is fit to be on their platform? Really? Like, who are they to make those kinds of decisions? And if you're going to have some kind of, truth-telling holy grail, this collection of individuals that decide like, oh, okay, this is right and this is wrong, how are they going to be picked? What morals are they going to have? Where are they going to stand on the political spectrum? It's way too much to be. There's so many factors that go into this that you can't have this supposed ministry of truth that can decide what can and what can't be published, what can be seen, what needs to be taken down. I think that these companies have way too much power as it stands, and their apps, their platforms need to be regulated like we regulate actual free speech in this country. I mean, this freedom of speech, I believe, should apply to these platforms, because it's very hard to get somebody trumped up on like a defamation clause because we have such lax free speech laws in this country. And I think that should also apply to a place like Twitter. People should be able to say whatever the fuck they want, even if it is misinformation. I see so much fucking COVID and vaccine misinformation on Twitter all the time, and it pisses me off because, things like that shouldn't be the case. You shouldn't want people to spew that kind of misinformation because it's incredibly dangerous. But do I think that they should have that stuff pulled down? Do I think they should start policing and taking people's, like if I were to tweet out some COVID vaccine misinformation, should I be banned from Twitter because of it? No. I don't think that should be the case. I think people should say whatever they want, even if it's wrong, even if it's that wrong. Because once you open the path for censorship, it's a bleak road ahead. And I mean, you can just lay down the hammer on anybody. They've effectively erased the former president's entire existence from online. I mean, Jesus Christ, who knew they could do that until they did it? So I think that this is, we're walking down a thin line, man, and we're already on track. And it seems like, we're on an unstoppable train at this point because the censorship just keeps growing stronger and stronger, and more people are getting censored, and more people are getting banned from both sides of the political spectrum. You know, the right will try to feed you bullshit, like they're the only ones that are subjected to this kind of horror, when in fact it's everybody. Anybody can get hit with censorship these days. So it's like you have to be extra careful, but it shouldn't be like that. And hopefully it doesn't stay like that.